Christopher. Yes, indeed, folks. Let's have ourselves a phenomenal series. OpTic Texas taking on the Toronto Ultra. Jay, it feels like there's a lot of similar comparisons when it comes down to both of these teams, both rosters, obviously making a roster change, that of which was controversial. Both teams playing in their second series versus each other, now with this new lineup as well. I'm excited, man. This is going to be a really good barometer. That's what I think I took away most from the desk and what they touched on. A good barometer to see where both of these teams truly sit right now.
Oh yeah, I'm super excited for this matchup. We got a chance to look at the maps of Mose, and I think it's a square up, at least for the first three maps. You get the best hard point for both squads in map number 1. You get one of the strongest search and destroys for that fortress in game 2. And then we know how strong Toronto is on hotel control. And on the opposite side for OpTic, that's the most control wins that they had on that map. So it's gonna be a square for me, man. I'm super excited. But one thing that I really enjoyed was that OpTic took Team B in this series. That's the biggest thing, because they get to control the first destiny that they play in map number 2. They get to basically pick the control that they want, and then also pick that map number 4. So that's gonna be big going forward. But here we go, Lando. This is going to be a battle, my friend.
It is indeed. I know the desk was also talking about how it's a very good chance that we could maybe see 5 games. I'm sure a lot of fans out there hoping to see very much the same as we fly in here toward Hotel Hardpoint. P1 currently in control of OpTic Texas early, as they've got 15 unanswered points.
Yeah, and so far, OpTic Texas, they start off on the better side, so good 15 off the rip, but gotta be thinking big picture here. We have to try to flip these spawns, because that's what I think these hard points between both of these squads is gonna come down to, simply the rotations. Whoever's able to get there first. OpTic are number 1 on this map compared to Toronto Ultra, who are 8th, but they're doing a great job right now contesting P1 and winning those gunfights over towards P2. So perfect start for OpTic, also a perfect start for Ultra, holding the spawns for next.
That's kind of what you talked about, right? With Toronto Ultra being, you know, so talented when it comes down to breaking, especially on different hard points. Really, it's about for them just kind of play standard hard point. We know that they're talented at breaking, but can they just rotate, put the pressure on the OpTic Texas? This is going to be their first real test. And now, with that being the case, Shotzzy, eager as ever, looks to get involved in the fight. Meanwhile, it's Dashy on the other side. A bit of a slower start for him. Wave 1 cleared for Toronto, but OpTic Texas are right backing on in.
Yeah, OpTic also wanting out towards Shandy's side. They're just going to fly right on in behind the SMGs. They're able to find 2, but it's the other players on the side of Ultra who are able to cut them all 4 down. So now with only 30 seconds left, OpTic have to make the call. Do we push this? Do we rotate over towards next? It looks like they're going to try to be aggressive, but they get cut down. So the final 20 is going to go in favor of Ultra. OpTic now forced to rotate. With this much time off the rotation, you allow yourself to get the perfect setup.
This is kind of what we saw in that last series, right? That they faced off against versus the Las Vegas Legion, Jay, for Toronto Ultra. It was kind of standard stuff, right? They made the rotations when they needed to break. They were able to find them. Right now up in a major way, 55-28 as we get ready for some kitchen. We'll see if Toronto once more can put that breaking into good use. Back up the stats we've talked about frequently, and right on cue, they rush right into kitchen. Shotzzy does not want to give that one up, but Jay, he has no choice.
Oh, he has no choice indeed, my friend. Toronto Ultra, they just break right through the middle of the map. The #1 breaking team on some hotel hardpoint, and it showed perfectly as they were able to find all 4 kills, flip the spawns. Now OpTic Texas trying to execute the break from the front. Cleanex cuts down 2. Eventually, he gets taken down, so no cruise missile is going to be earned. But so far, this has been a back-and-forth trade hill. Toronto coming out on top. Final 20 seconds. OpTic probably get this one more good push, but got to cut your losses. You got to get towards next, because Toronto are playing a step ahead right now.
They are indeed. When you got player number 4 in Cleanex, who's already prepared and at the bar, he's got Scrappy alongside of him. So Toronto, not only do they grab the scrap points, but they've also managed to hit that rotation nice and early. Down in man count, we'll see what they can do with it. And it appears that OpTic Texas, the numbers will be able to favor them nice and early. But the last time that we saw OpTic Texas on Hotel Hardpoint, it was pretty much what we're seeing on the reverse side. Downright dominance versus the Guerrillas. We'll see if the boys in Texas can finally get things going.
Oh, and they hold the first push, at least find 3 kills. Now they just have to be able to read the spawns, because 2-2 split right now from Ultra. 2 players spawning over towards Jewel, the rest towards back spa. That's another 3 dead in the feed for OpTic. Now they know that they're spawning over towards bedroom. All spa side. Everybody just hold your preams, get your trophies down. And just play for these kills, because we can try to trap this and chain it towards the next hill. But Hixie with some great shots, able to take down 1. Cleanex finds a second, but Huke the nuke tries to at least keep them off for this time, but the final 20 is going to be Toronto's after Scrapz tears them apart with 3.
Can we lower that camera a bit? I want to see what that man's chirping right now. He is feeling it. The same thing can be said for Cleanex. once more. It is Toronto getting scrap points, and if you look at the rotation, they are here again. It has been such great work early. Oh my! P from Toronto as Insight is able to find 2. Texas once more left in a position where they're going to have to break. They're going to have to do the hard job. And we'll see if that can be successful, as this gunfight is going to be huge. Kleenex wins that, and from there, Toronto continues to roll. A break opportunity for OpTic as we continue to headbutt inside of the restaurant. Let's step aside and see how the comms are sounding for the Ultra Boys.
I'm with you. It's not done dead. Inside town, outside. Mid hill. Middle of the hill, one's that side shot as well. Middle of the time, one's that side shot. Nice, look at that shot. My outside. Wine. Could've gone there.
Short on me.
Short. Yeah, good news.
Both time.
Yeah, I'm deep now.
Dead.
I have an AR as well. Go
to the side again, right side.
I'm on lead time.
No, on me, 2 ult.
I'm gonna be the back.
I'll play deep. Play deep wall here. They can come my bed.
Come out of your kitchen, right?
Yeah. I'm
kitchen, bro. I'm playing side door and bricks.
Okay. Come my low bed, boys.
I have side
Do you want to get it? No, you can play your side. You can play rank kill.
Side door,
Ivy square.
Two side though, 2 side. Both going in. Both
Top cat dead, Ivy square.
Back dead.
Back door.
I don't see him. Back door. Dead.
I'm right side.
I have your back door cross, Toby. Yeah. I have low.
Could be top cat.
Cat's bed. Top bed. Back top cat.
Top cat behind him.
That's dead. Nice.
Look for one.
I hold this. Dashy, yeah.
Could be in there. There's P4, it's P4.
Alright, I'm on
He's going plat steps now.
I'm watching my own inside my top bed walls. I don't have my plat. Yeah. I'm coming to backstairs, Charles.
Hey, what a kitchen, man.
Could be kitchen.
I'm mid now.
Could be.
It is all business right now from Toronto, the typical comms that we have become accustomed to. They're displaying it once more. Let's now see how the other side of the stage is sounding. Listen now with OpTic Texas.
I'm picking
Where's it all? Get away there. What's this thing? He's backstairs. Are they pushing
He's back door. Stay down.
I think he's in
Back up though.
Yeah, I think we spawned up slot, guys. Yeah, I think we spawned up.
Yeah, I'm picking up.
P2 going hole. The guy's going back hole. Back hole. 100%.
Yeah, P2 stairs. Hold that.
Yeah, I have your main.
I have your main. P2 stairs.
I
have main for you.
One guy's couches on me. 100%. I could try to watch your couch load up.
Oh yeah, one guy's front bed. Got one.
Top it. Couches dead.
Backside couches. Really big scrap. You know where they're at? One guy's P4.
He's one-shot couches, bro. One-shot couches, Scrappy. He's
spawning down here. Spawning kitchen.
That's good. Yeah, kitchen once. Yeah, one's gonna be right.
Post couch. Shit on.
I have a tree. Ruck's dead.
Good shit. I'm pushing up and being
top
bed. One shot.
I have TVs. What's TVs?
Couches, one shot. Couches, Kleenex.
One shot couches.
He's one shot couches.
Couches dead.
Nice, good shit. Look at my own top cat. Stay down. I can't. I'm gonna get rolled. I'm dead off time.
One guy's pool, watch out. One here, ruined left. Try to get through P4. He's at left. Absolute pool.
We gotta back up.
Inside P4.
He's in spot already.
We're gonna spawn out.
And between both of the teams, the communication is hot. I give it A for Toronto Ultra because you heard all the small talk. Everyone was talking when they needed to. And on the opposite side for OpTic Texas, A+ because you heard the energy, man. Huke the Nuke is coming out swinging in this map, number 1. The only thing is they don't have rotation over towards next. It's still scrappy. Back and forth trades in towards the hill. It's all about finding these kills to try to get a setup. But Toronto are not making it easy. Shotzzy, last player up. He gets taken down. And Toronto Ultra, another rotation over towards P2.
AJ, this has just been exquisite HP out of the Toronto Ultra. I mean, just incredible work coming in from them. We've talked about it multiple times, how they just look comfortable. I mean, the comms suggested it. They just feel like they're always in the driver's seat. And there's been so many, people talking about the Toronto Ultra changing. You're bringing in somebody in Hixie who maybe isn't that same, slaying talent that we know that Standy can be, but he's going to be a great piece to really improve the fundamentals of the roster. I think from all accounts right now, you've got the slaying and the fundamentals look to be absolutely on point for the moment.
Oh yeah, without question, man. Hixie's a guy. Perfect comparison that we heard from the desk, comparing him like TP, Mr. Do-It-All, just trying to get the win. And I think the biggest thing that I took from their last series with Hixie in the roster is that Kleenex led the team in damage. Look at his stat line, 26 and 17, taking over 5 points until Ultra call map 1.
Yeah, they are just absolutely flying and frying. As we said, both teams off of some solid hotel hard points. We were curious to see how the duel would go, and it has been a one-sided affair. 5 more points still left for Toronto. Kleenex looks to put them to bed. 1 more point to go, and that will be game. A downright incredible HP performance there for Toronto, and you can see it at the top left. Scrappy is already getting going.
Oh yeah, without question, man. When you get a victory like that in map number 1, you're shutting up all the doubters. on who the potential rookie of the year is going to be with a stellar performance alongside Kleenex. Both of those guys just took over. And like the biggest thing that you have to take away on map number 1 is that OpTic Texas usually on Hotel Hardpoint, they're the #1 rotating team. They usually put themselves in a better position. But both P2s, they could not get the spawns. And even when they rotated over towards Kitchen, they were instantly broken by the #1 breaking team on Hotel Hardpoint in the Ultra. A pretty convincing map number 1 for Toronto. Obviously, you got to think the vibes. Everything is flowing on that side. A slow start from the Batman, 14 and 23. I don't know what's been going on with Dashy the last 2 matches. Probably a little bit too much rank because he's sitting top 15 overall, but
he was
not the best map number 1 performance. Now OpTic Texas need to respond in the search.
And the craziest part, Jay, is that once this game is over, he's already down to 200. People are just grinding right now. When it comes down to ranked, I know you've actually just hit the top 250. I will not be seeing
me, baby.
Jay. Unfortunately, you're going to be alone at the top when it comes down to the talent team. But tell you what, man, just incredible work out of Toronto throughout this entire hardpoint. I mean, you and I had super high expectations. We said it was going to be a square up. It was going to be, you know, a true battle to really see who was going to take control on Hotel, as both teams had come off of a dominant Hotel hardpoint. In Toronto Ultra, I mean, it looked effortless at times. Like, it just felt like they were dominant in the slaying, and every time we would look up to see on the mini-map where the rotations were at, you saw 1, if not 2, sometimes 3 Ultra players there. It almost felt like a 6v4 at times based off of where they were positioned on the map.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is that we went into the comms of both squads. You heard Toronto Ultra with their small talk talking about some, let's make sure we rotate, let's hold down this power position, make sure you play your life in that certain spot. And on the opposite side for Texas, it was just simply like, we're getting a lot of energy. That's perfect. Exactly what you want going into your second match with a new player like Ghosty. But it's just the small talk, the fundamentals that they were lacking. Wow. Because Huke, he was slaying all around that P1, but there was no one making that call. All right, guys, we got to make sure we get towards P2. We got to get towards the back. Just that small fundamental communication just was not there in that map number 1. And that's why you see the scoreline the way that it is. Toronto Ultra, calm, cool, and collected, take the first map. Now we're going into a fortress search and destroy, where I'm super excited for both of these squads, because this is one of the S&Ds where both of these teams usually find a lot of success. 3-1 for Toronto, 4-2 for OpTic. But the biggest battle that I'm really excited about is the Shotzzy versus Kleenex. 1.27 versus Shotzzy. I'm pretty sure he's like the #1 guy on this map when it comes to getting first bloods with like a 0.3. And then the opposite side for Kleenex, 1.33. So those SMGs really do set the tone. You know, on defense, it's all about jumping into single window, just being a nuisance around that top barred area. Whoever's going to be able to win that battle is going to be able to take this map number 2.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great, you know, duel that you correctly pointed out there, my friend. And I think one thing too that a lot of people are going to look at is that, you know, we are judging these new rosters. Obviously for Toronto Ultra, they find themselves up 1-0. They look to be in a great spot. Yeah. However, when we take a look at the bottom side of the screen in OpTic Texas, yeah, I think this is where we're really going to see the layers of this team moving forward, Jay, right? I mean, we talked about how this team could be unbelievably dominant in the hard point. Obviously, we didn't see that in game 1. But Ali, you know, talked about on the desk, what is OpTic Texas's search destroy now going to look like with the departure of iLLeY? I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see. And like I said, this is going to give us a good barometer, a good idea of where this team sits, and maybe the pedigree that they have as they'll be facing off against top teams all the way up into Major 3 and throughout the rest of the season. Where does their S&D go now in the departure of iLLeY?
And that's the biggest question, man, because if you think about back when OpTic Texas did have iLLeY on this roster, I'm pretty sure they won more rounds with iLLeY using a sniper than when he had a regular gun. And we saw in that last series versus LAG, we only saw a sniper at least 1 round. And Ghosty, he was not able to pick up a kill. And on a map like Fortress, sniper's probably not going to be that impactful. It has its opportunities, but it's more about the pressure you're able to put towards art. So the SMGs need to be playmakers. You have to make sure, at least if you're OpTic Texas, #1 at getting first bloods on this map. That's huge, because whenever you're starting around up 1-0, already in the man advantage, you just have to play your trades from that point on. But you cannot be getting first blooded on defense. You see the stats right here from Shotzzy. So far, 1.27, 0.32 in the first bloods, 14% in his opening duels. But if Shotzzy drops, especially in your defensive rounds, Toronto Ultra are stellar on their attacking.
Oh, okay. Well, we're just into this round then, aren't we? A quick little 3 nearly makes it a 4. Shotzzy's involved in the fight, and Scrappy is wondering what just happened to this round. Ladies and gentlemen, the fastest round of Fortress S&D probably all season, right there.
Oh, that was OpTic Texas. You set the tone nice and early, putting a lot of pressure over towards that street side. When a majority of these trades And Shotzzy finds that final kill to close out the round. And now that basically is going to change the defensive setup for Toronto. Someone has to dedicate themselves over towards street side to make sure that aggressive push doesn't happen again. But OpTic Texas, they catch them off guard, dominating round number 1, 1-0.
We'll see, man. I know we chatted about it. I think it was Miles and Chance who had Toronto's last series talked about the emphasis on first bloods for them. That was a major reason why they made the roster change for Hixie. You know, they're really, I think it's like, what, a top 4, top 5 search destroy team based off of record, but last in first bloods. As they get delivered a haymaker there in round number 1, we'll see if they can begin to answer back now on the attack. Dan Ghosty, 0-1 start. We'll see if he can get things going as it's a nice little back and forth affair between Shotzzy and Ghosty, open and closed. And it's Ghosty able to get one up on the board first. Quick 3v4 now for Ultra, now making a 2v4.
Yeah, Huke's able to take down Insight, now in a 2v4 situation. Dashy's able to pick apart Scrapz, last player towards top single. Hixie finds one, just gonna fly out. He knows it's not an easy round to win. As OpTic Texas quickly put 2 on the board, all behind the first bullet of Dan Ghosty. Once he takes down that player, you see Toronto Ultra, they change their setup. Now we have to scatter, have to try to even up the numbers. Huke eventually picks them apart, make it a 4v2, and then in a 2v4, you don't get that bomb down. You meet the pre-aims of Dashy. In those very final moments, OpTic Texas 2-0.
It feels like so far, man, throughout our first 2 rounds, obviously the first round was one of the fastest we've seen this year. The second one, it was just, you know, comes down to one play. It's the nice little work there from Ghosty and Shotzzy. I'm sure they've been putting in tons of reps in S&D, but these rounds just continue to fly by. This time it's Toronto who starts things off well, an early 2, now make it 3 for them. And now, Jay, Huke's in a 1v3. That's all I got for you.
1v3. Does have dead silence, but doesn't have that bomb in hand. So they decided to leave it in towards the spawn. They're going to know his positioning, but he's able to at least find a freebie in towards Scrap. Makes it a manageable play now. 1v2. You invest that dead silence. They know that Huke was still trying to play over towards Art. You have Insight watching that cross over towards B. He picks up that information. Now it's time for Hixie to turn around and just want to play the trade now.
Oh, but doesn't see Hixie there on the horse statue. Toronto Ultra. I was gonna say that 1v3, you just never really know where Huke's gonna pop out from. The only thing, Jay, is that you know from Huke is he's chowing. He is going to chow you. Goes for the gunfight, and this time it is Hixie, the new addition, who's able to come through, give Toronto their first round so far.
Yeah, Toronto, they're just able to find the first 2 kills, and then at that point, you keep the 2 players that were in Art very stagnant as they were holding that single push in towards top double windows. No one decides to jump up. Both of your teammates drop in, and who tries to make a miracle happen, but eventually gets taken down. So Toronto get one on the board, and now going to keep the same exact play going.
Oh, but Ghosty, I was going to say Ghosty, and I believe that's player number 7 and Dashy, yes, who both go for the dive. They catch a few players coming over toward the stairs. I want to say it was a utility that was tossed at Ghosty's feet. He eventually does fall. So another aggressive plan for OpTic Texas. This time it does not work out.
Does not work out. So now you have to try to clutch up 3v4 on the defensive end. Toronto Ultra still not trying to push up on this bomb plant just quite yet. They get some information that one player is going to be sitting towards open. Unfortunately, Kleenex decides to shoot the trophy system. Gets some bad timing as Dashy evens up at 3.
I was going to say there for Kleenex, like, I thought he maybe got cracked. Like, if he thought that was a player, but just unfortunate COD timing at its finest. Now with 3v3, the trophy has single-handedly brought OpTic Texas back to a much more manageable situation. And right now for Bruce, it's really a buildup of information. You know where Scrappy's at. You roughly know where Inside is. And really Shotzzy, he's able to put that tack to good use. So now 2v3. Hixie tries to distance out a few players. Allows for the plant to be that much easier for the squad mate. And Huke, middle of dead silence, manages to win that fight. And it's the retake there from OpTic Texas. Trophy, though, is the MVP, Jay.
Yeah, trophy without question is the MVP. If I'm Kleenex, it's either you're shooting that from Art, not in the position that you were in outside of open arch. Because if you're just preying that angle, you're probably able to take down Dashy, make it a 4v2, and the round is completely different. But once he's able to take down that player, make it a 3v3, you saw Insight, he was trying to work his way up towards P1 trucks. He gets sniffed out by Shotzzy. And then in the 3v2, Huke wins a huge one-on-one with all hip fired out of the Vaznev while he was popping that dead silence. Makes it a 3v1. You get aggressive through front stage. You take down that last player. OpTic Texas take the round.
I'm just a little frustrated, Jay, that after a round like that, they don't do any pull-ups. You know, Florida did it versus them. No pull-ups from OpTic Texas. Nothing.
Ain't no time. Ain't no time. Ain't no working out today. We're down 1-0. We don't got no time for working out.
What do you think could do the most pull-ups on OpTic Texas?
I think it's probably Huke. Because I remember at Boston, at Boston, I saw Huke and Shotzzy Sunday, Championship Sunday. They were going for a run, like bright and early when I was on my way to the venue. So they're getting active.
I like that. I don't know. I may have my money on Bruce a little bit. I don't know. I think he is called Batman after all. He's gonna have some biceps in there somewhere. Regardless, though, 3-1. OpTic Texas trying to extend their advantage. Toronto Ultra now on the defensive side. Last time it was a trophy who managed to stay today for OpTic. Will it be again? Insight eager to push on out. Manages to find Dashy for the first. However, that bomb has gotten down, and now Toronto look to take over a bit of territory.
Oh, Toronto all out towards the stage. That Shotzzy and Huke already find 2 on the round. Shotzzy gonna find another. Now it's all up to Insight in the 1v2. He has tremendous clutch ability, but with only 25 seconds left, this is difficult.
And he does know that Shotzzy didn't cross through that doorway. Tries to single out. Ghosty, not gonna happen. OpTic set the trap. Toronto had numbers for the moment. They jump on forward. They grab a bit of map positioning, but Shotzzy and co just far too talented. It's Shotzzy to start. It's Shotzzy to end. How about his performance? We saw Huke go off in the game 5. I don't know if we're going to see 14-1 levels there from the Ant-Man, but a 7-1 beginning here out of him. We talked about the questions around OpTic Texas and their search and destroy. And right now, Jay, they are looking fantastic.
Yeah, looking fantastic indeed, my friend. Obviously, Shotzzy sitting at 7-1. Just such a hard player to keep track of where he is on the map. Shoots you from one angle, and then 2 seconds later, he's totally on the opposite side of the map. But Toronto Ultra this time on their attacking round. They're going to switch up their play. Quick plant down. Now it's a 4-4 retake for OpTic.
Oh, and Shotzzy manages to find somebody. Somebody's heels just got exposed. Insight versus
No way.
Shotzzy. Door's going to be closed. Clinics jumps on forward and somehow wins that gun engagement versus Huke. So OpTic now low in numbers. Shotzzy does have the overall POV to work with. That's going to be a 5-in-a-row spree for him. Kleenex continues to poke away at players, and now Dashy is going to be swarmed. A decent effort, but Jay, Toronto Ultra had a plan at the start of that round. They get it done, and they make OpTic have to work.
Yeah, that's a perfect game plan right there from Ultra. Just get the bomb down as fast as you can, and then set up properly around it. As Kleenex was the playmaker to make his way in towards bottom art, he finds 2 kills on towards the site and just relieves that pressure of the players from Ultra sitting back towards 18-wheeler. 4v4 retake is not successful for OpTic Texas. Toronto Ultra finally add another round to the board. Now down 4-2.
That's a little bit of a taste of what you talked about coming into this. The battle of really a few players in particular. Kleenex versus Shotzzy, and right there, Tobias ends up getting dropped nice and early. The first blood battle continues to be the story. Right now, it is OpTic Texas with man count advantages. These rounds have been absolutely lightning fast. Is it Scrappy and Hixie, longtime teammates and challengers, now left to try to clutch it up right now for the squad.
Oof.
Scrappy cannot clean up the kill, and now it is up to the new guy on the block, Hixie, a 1v3. Best of luck.
Yeah, Shotzzy's coming right behind him, so Shotzzy's about to be able to pick up this final kill, and it's a perfect round right there for OpTic. Complete blind count. You saw Toronto Ultra, they were trying to take control of top stage, but they were ready for that push. You had multiple players stacked in towards Art. Then that one player in Dan Ghosty sitting towards back 18. He gets that first blood, eventually trades R bound. Then Hixie, he's the last man standing. Over towards that A bomb. Shotzzy eventually sets up the flank, and he's able to take him down. 9-2 stat line for Shotzzy. Now puts OpTic Texas at game point.
See if they can close it out here. Toronto Ultra once more on the attack. We've seen them get aggressive. We've seen them slow it down. We know when it comes to pace, this is a guy who loves to rev it up. Huke just on the other side of the door. Wait, his clicks. Poke out a little too far. No, Huke, no problem. He's going to wait. Take his opportunity. However, the trades favor Toronto in that situation. Scrappy able to poke away at the nuke from afar. The same thing could be said for Ghosty as he gets caught out in no man's land. And now it is all up to Dashy, a 1v3. Technically would be for the game. We talked about pull-ups earlier. We'll see if Dashy has the strength to come away with the clutch. It would surely put the momentum in OpTic's favor.
1v3. Oh, great shots to take down inside. Makes it a 1v2. Hixie's able to get the information of where he is coming from, but now this is where you're able to invest that dead silence. Bomb has still not been planted for Toronto Ultra, so this is exactly what Dashy is looking for. His time is starting to think. He thinks that they went over towards B, but Hicksy, he's just going to watch him cross for free. Now no dead silence to work with in the 2v1 retake.
Now for Dashy, I mean, you just bank on them being on the other side of the map. Now they could be pretty much anywhere. No longer be in those bushes, though. However, spots Hicksy from afar. That is wonderful work out of Dashy, and he'll instantly hop on the defuse. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. It felt like the right play. Had no idea where that last player was going to be, but gets poked away there from Scrappy. And Jay, to be honest, I mean, if you're Dashy in that situation, so many players just want to roam. They're going to start to, move around. Not a bad play. It just happens to be that Scrappy was in the right place at the right time.
Oh, yeah, you just got to stick to that defuse because you have no dead silence to work with. So you don't want to put yourself in a position where Scrap is able to get a couple sound cues to know where you are coming from. Just get that first kill. Try to catch him out of positioning. But like you said, Scrap in the perfect spot to take him down. So Toronto Ultra, stay alive a little longer. Back on the defense. This time OpTic. Oh, gonna slow this one down. Great team nades coming in from Toronto to find that first blood onto Ghosty.
We'll see what they can do off of it. As we know, currently Ghosty has been the bomb carrier for OpTic Texas, so it is going to be a matter of Dashy having to pick that one up. He was trying to go for a defuse. 1 round to go, and now he's going to have to be on the plant. How quickly did Toronto look to aggress as Dashy has to get out of dodge? Manages to escape. The Dolphin Dive will support really his movement to get out of dodge, but right now it is Toronto continuing to come away with kills, but now it could be Huke's opportunity. One to strike. There to Kleenex. Dashy, can he win his gunfight? No. Manages to find one. The snappy plays from Huke were nice, but Ultra, too many men alive. And right now they are still very much in this game. Back-to-back rounds.
Yeah, Ultra fighting, man. Great first blood with the team nade to take down Ghosty. Now in a 3v4 situation, they make it a 2v4. Shotzzy was trying to make his way out of Art. Then in the 4v2, Huke snaps. Basically hits a nice little turn on for the first kill. Dashy finds second. But then the last 2 players from Toronto Ultra able to take them both down. And now 2 rounds in a row from Ultra. Going into round number 10. They're going to be on the attacking side. Do they try to go for their quick plan again?
That'll be the question. And right now, Jay, I mean, all focus is on OpTic Texas right now. And there is another nade. Shotzzy dealt with. And with that being the first line, typically, of defense, that just gives Toronto a much bigger boost. Ghosty caught in the doorway. Kleenex has got to be careful. Manages to escape with 36 HP. Still alive and still able to fight. Could have been a monumental pick there for OpTic to bring it to a 3v3. However, still down in man count. Bomb still yet to get planted.
Bomb still yet to get planted, but Hicksy at least is able to get that information onto Huke. In towards top bar, sets up Scrapz to take him down. So now in the 4v2, look what Kleenex is doing. Already working his way through bottom maps with that dead silence pop. Gonna be able to catch one and the second kill to close out the round. 3 rounds in a row for Toronto Ultra to now take us to a round 11.
Ooh-wee, this is getting spicy. Up 5.
Ooh, baby.
We were talking about how OpTic was looking clinical. Toronto had no option, and now they have awoken. Kleenex with some fist bumps from afar, as we saw a nice little smirk on his face, and they recognize the situation that they sit in right now. No pressure on the side of Toronto Ultra as they have made the comeback, down 5-2, have forced the round 11. This is a huge round for OpTic Texas. 1 round away from going down 0-2, and you see the records there. By no means a solid spot historically for Texas this season.
Yeah, neither one of these squads got ice, is what that's telling me right there. But now into the round 11, Kleenex able to get a lot of information that they're getting aggressive up through street side. But now you just have to be aware because Shotzzy, he's waiting for his time to strike. He's going to be that player getting first blood by Kleenex. So now in the 3v4 situation, Ultra, take your time and play your trades.
That's such a frustrating moment. They felt like they had Kleenex dead to right. Shotzzy looks to aggress, and then he falls. It could be on to Huke, and he had the snappy gunfight victory. No! That's now 2 players that have fallen for OpTic Texas. Your SMG line is down, and now it is all up to Ghosty and Dashy. Is this about to be a 5-2 collapse? 30 seconds to go. Bomb looks to get planted, and Ghosty can find the timing. Indeed, he does. And Dashy.
Oh, he finds one.
It's a 2v2, Jay.
2v2. And the bomb is not going to get planted, so now there's only 25 seconds left. One player from Toronto has to wrap back, but Kleenex invests that dead silence. He's able to spot him one-on-one, 20 seconds.
Kleenex still has to go for the bomb plant. Dashy, oh, Dashy! He was on the stage, snaking away, but did not have enough HP. But was a 2v4, comes down to a one-on-one. Tagged up, and Tobias gets told to fly, and indeed he does. A collapse in the search and destroy as Toronto make a heroic 5-2 comeback and now lead our series 2-0.
Oh man, what a search and destroy we had, my friend.
Bloods.
What? I'm telling you, he was taking over the game, man. It was a battle between him and Shotzzy. Shotzzy was sitting at like, what, 9-2 to start us off? 4 rounds in a row, he wasn't able to get a kill. One was a first blood to a nade. The last round right there was all on Kleenex, just getting that information. I told you it was going to be a battle between both of those stellar SMG players. It was Shotzzy that started off, but Kleenex, he's the one that is able to close it out. What a performance. 6 first bloods, 12-8 overall in the KD department as Toronto Ultra come back 4 rounds in a row to take the search and destroy 6-5 and now find themselves up 2-0 in the series.
I tell you what, Jay, one thing that really stood out to me in a few of those, final rounds, specifically the round 10 and the round 11, was Toronto Ultra's ability just to stay alive. Like, there were so many situations where they found the first blood. I guess it was Kleenex finding the first blood basically every round. And then you notice in that round 11, Kleenex, he's able to stay up. He stays alive in a situation. Shotzzy ends up revealing his spot. He gets taken down. The round prior, it felt like Kleenex was nearly taken down. Hixie was nearly taken down. It was just Toronto's ability to stay alive, but yet to earn that information that, to me at least, felt like was one of the many catalysts that managed to bring them back. But that has got to hurt a lot. If you are OpTic Texas, you felt like you were already thinking about that control, up 5-2. Toronto Ultra comes screaming back and now have themselves a sizable lead in this series. Make sure and stay with us, folks, as we have got Hotel Control up right after this break.
The Call of Duty League is presented by the GMC Hummer EV Pickup, the world's first all-electric super truck. Upgrade your game with the Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League.
Howdy friends, and welcome back to the Call of Duty League. Currently, it is the Toronto Ultra taking on OpTic Texas, and if you are just joining us, well, you missed a breakdown. It was OpTic who were up 5-2 in that Fortress Search and Destroy. Toronto make the comeback, and now, Jay, they find themselves up 2-0, are in, without question, the best spot they potentially could be in when it comes to a 3-0. Why? Because we've got that hotel control up next, buddy.
Yeah, hotel control is Toronto Ultra's bread and butter. Overall record of sitting at 8-3, and the biggest thing that stands out for me is that usually it's all about the attacking routes on a map like hotel control, but they are the #1 defensive team on this map at 62%, and that's just the way that they're able to hold down that B point. You always have Insight, who is barely dying on this map, all the way pushed out towards bedroom, influencing those spawns to make it a lot more difficult for the opposing team. So if you are OpTic Texas, down 0-2, a tall ladder to climb. You're not out of this series yet, but it all starts with this map.
I did verify, by the way, with our stats team. Major shout out to Tim and co. But that was, I believe, tied for the record of the most first bloods in a single map by one player this season.
Oh man, no way.
As he walked away with 6, and also tied with Afro, and it appears that KiSMET is trying to bring that same level of play now into the control. So far, it's been picture perfect work out of Toronto as they continue to wipe away time over at that A zone. Halfway there, that second tech is forward, and they're causing problems on the other side of the map as well.
Yeah, second tick already in, but that's going to be 3 dead in the feed. Now with OpTic Texas trying to put pressure over towards A, Toronto Ultra, they're going to get those close B spawns towards bedroom, trying to make their way over towards that side, but they're going to be able to get cut down, and the last player in Huke is able to take that player off of A. So A's not going to be done. Still a minute on the clock. As now you just both trying to play for a couple kills, trying to play for some map control.
A great gunfight victory from Scrappy. I mean, last time we saw him on a hotel respawn, he absolutely fried. Great work in that game 1. However, he ends up finding his pick, but eventually does get found. Now it falls on a Kleenex. He also will drop. Meanwhile, it is Toronto with those close spawns toward the top, doing a bit of damage as they've now officially secured that A zone. Another minute added onto the clock, but we'll see if Shotzzy can continue to drop away at the lives. It was Toronto who started off pretty much perfect through our first 4 engagements. From that point forward, it has been Toronto doing a good job of the objective, but Jay, OpTic Texas have turned it up in the slang.
Yeah, OpTic Texas, at least so far in this round, currently up by 3 lives, are maintaining a lot of this map control. Shotzzy should be able to get a free beat onto Hicksy. You're just influencing those spawn for Toronto Ultra. Do they decide to wrap back towards bed? Do they decide to push through the middle of the map? So they take down that player in Ghosty. Now this way you're able to hit that hop up, take control of bedroom, and allow your player in number 3 to watch that cross towards that side of the map as they're trying to set up the push from the front.
Hicksy still yet to get a kill. I want to see him get involved in the fray. I'm sure that is definitely weighing on his mind right now as Huke able to find that kill on Kleenex. He looks to make his way toward the back lines, goes for the engagement. Yeah, I'm challenging that, but Scrappy, he's the one that walks away with the gunfight victory. Maybe a few extra bullets in stride. As right now for OpTic Texas, their defense continues to get peeled back. And now it's up to Ghosty, left to try to snake his way to a few gunfight victories. However, he will drop as well. Toronto continue to rush into this B zone with little to no adversity.
Oh, and the first tick is already going to be here. Now you see Huke. He has to take his time. He has to wait for his teammates to try to get into the play, but he tries to go for the challenge. He gets taken care of. Second tick is already in. OpTic Texas are nowhere close towards the point, and that's going to be Toronto Ultra with a flawless first round to this map, now up 1-0.
Scrappy just looks ticked off, man. He's like, that was a little too easy at the end. I mean, I don't know, like, we can kind of see it on the mini-map, right? OpTic Texas are in the right spots, Jay. Like, they're holding down top bedroom. They're making their way up toward the plat. A few players get dropped from there. Insight, he gets to his position where he needs to. Watch the cross. Huke gets a bit aggressive. He ends up falling. It just felt like Toronto took their time. They just never felt, even though the time continued to tick, it never felt like they were ever out of control. Whether that's really just this team in general or Hicksy's addition, they just seem to be at all lengths in a very, very calm spot. As we said, they win that hard point in commanding fashion. They've got the ice in that search and destroy. And as we do enter into a bit of a pause for a moment, as we said, for Toronto, they just always look to be in a poised fashion lately.
Yeah, and I think in that last final push right there from the Ultra, Dan Ghosty was that player that was sitting towards top bet. He was the only player on that side of the map for OpTic Texas. And instead of playing a corner, playing for a nice free B kill, he goes for the challenge out towards back plat. And then once he gets taken down, OpTic need to try to clutch up towards double desk because they know that they're getting all those spa spawns. Ultra know where they are coming from. Just came down to the kills. Once Dan Ghosty drops, you have to find those kills. They were not able to do so, and then eventually the stack comes in for Toronto Ultra to take that round number 1. And I just think if you are OpTic Texas, you got to just take a deep breath, man. Series is far from over, but we have to have the fundamentals in play.
You definitely do, and it makes you wonder too, like, you know, after losing a 5-2 search destroy like that, you just want to get back involved in the fray. Like, I wonder for them if it's a matter of like, you know what, we allowed for that one to basically be let go. Let's just try to get back involved in slaying, and who knows, maybe from that point forward, the lack, or rather the too much aggression ends up biting them in the end. As we'll see if aggression can maybe be their friend at this point as we jump into their very first attack. Shout out to everybody for making sure this game is ready to go. Quick pause, so we're back on in it. Texas appears has their eyes on that B zone, but Scrappy is not eager to hand it away. Great work early from Toronto.
Yeah, this is a tall task, though, for OpTic Texas because Toronto, they are the #1 defensive team on this map. And it showed nice and early on that first speed push. They were able to shut that one down. Now, close spawns for OpTic over towards Kitchen. We're able to at least take down Scrap, win that gunfight towards mid connector. So now the stack is going to come in. We do have one player in Hixie, though, slowly working his way around back Kitchen, waiting for his teammates to potentially try to set up a pinch, but they're just going to try to play for these exit kills.
It just felt like right there for Toronto, like OpTic's trying to make a little bit of noise at B. Toronto ends up grabbing their position. OpTic has those close spawns, and Toronto are basically like, yeah, you're going to go and cap that point. You're not going to go anywhere else. You're going to stay right there over at that A zone. Texas obeys. And now with that, they've got themselves another minute to work with. But as they begin their efforts over toward that B zone, we'll see what they can get done. It very well could come down to Shotzzy to find some of these opening picks. Not going to check his corner, and that is a spot that Insight absolutely loves, Jay. The common denominator when it comes down to those Toronto defenses is him up there.
Oh, yeah, him in bedroom is not an easy task to take care of. He's always able to at least find one before dropping. As now Toronto Ultra, they relieve the pressure in the back of their spawn. Now they're able to control the spawns on the side of OpTic Texas, force them all to overextend through that Shandy side. Just your main focus is taking down Ghosty. Great sticky right there with that nade. Just have to hold this position down if you are Ghosty to allow your teammates to set up this pinch.
Oh, that is just not a great little angle. If you are Scrappy, he eventually does get found out, so it's a 3-for-1 trade. OpTic Texas now feel like it is time to get going, but where has CleanX gone? They've player counted, and now they're wondering, where is Tobias? Where is the Great Dane? And right there, he's able to strike. However, Dashy ends up finding 2 on his own. He's the sole man inside of the objective, and while one segment has been found that was not really what you wanted to see, you wanted to see more of those segments grabbed there from OpTic. However, not going to be done. 45 seconds now on the clock, and now this is where the issues can begin, Jay. Toronto now have their moment to set on up, and this pick early is going to be huge. Not going to find it. Huke finds the first.
That's a big kill right there from Huke. Now you're going to be able to influence that spawn for CleanX all the way towards Jules' side. So now you have double dash. You just have to worry about the pitch from bedroom. Hixie pops that dead silence, able to maintain mid-map control. Now he knows that the pressure is going to be towards double dash. He's able to find 2. CleanX finds the 3rd. Hixie finds 3 as they shut down the final push for OpTic Texas. Only one player here at least gets a close spawn towards bed. Now that's 2 dead in the feed. OpTic can still push this on.
Well, last time it was CleanX. This time could it be Insight, the long-time tenured players for Toronto, as Shotzzy, sole man on the point. He ends up...
Oh my!
It's Ghosty. CleanX is having himself a series. Ends things out on 5, and there is no time left for OpTic to jump on that zone. 2-0 in the series, and now 2-0 in the control.
And people were wondering, why did Toronto Ultra decide to make this roster change? And it's nothing towards Standy. But what Hixie is able to do for this team is now allowing CleanX to be a free roamer. CleanX is doing whatever he wants on the map. He was able to find all 4 kills on that final push for OpTic Texas. 2 towards the middle of the map, 1 with the nade, and then the last kill towards lights. Tobias is just having himself one hell of a series. The tissue is definitely an issue. She's just taking over 15 and 13, the highest engagements in the lobby. Toronto Ultra 1 round away from closing out 3-0.
And that was what some people were, curious about, Jay. Like, is HyDra being added to this team going to be good or bad? Because it pretty much elevates, as he talked about it, the other 3 players. How do you like that? By living and dying essentially by those other 3, and right now it is clearly working out quite nicely for them. On the other side, though, for OpTic Texas, boy, do they need an answer. As we said, after going down in that search destroy, coming into this control with some high hopes and already staring at an 0-2 advantage for the other direction. What can they do now on this defensive round? Potentially the final one of the game. I'm sure a 3-0 sweep would not be what they had on the cards coming into it. As Toronto now look to pivot, they've had their opportunities to take a look at B, and now it appears that A zone is about to be grabbed.
Yeah, got at least one tick over towards that B point. Now it's time to close out A. So you're gonna have 2 players on this point. First segment is already gonna be done. OpTic, they're not budging. They're trying to play for the exit kills. If Shotzzy's able to find the first, so now at least puts them in the trade advantage. Shotzzy's gonna put on a lot of pressure. He eventually does get taken down though. Ultra hold down the pinch coming in from Kitchen as a second tick, and Kleenex is beaming. Like, they're not missing right now. They're not making any mistakes. A is gonna be done and dusted. Toronto up by 1 life, extended time by a minute.
That's the scariest part. I mean, like we said, if HyDra is here to really elevate the other 3, the fundamentals have improved, and I mean, the slang is at this level. Who can stop the Toronto Ultra? By no means OpTic Texas.
Oh my!
Kleenex is finding them sprinting.
It's over.
Make it all 4, and that very well could be the game. Ghosty, the only player in ear's distance, tosses his tax, throws out his stuns, but all in desperation as it feels like this one could be over. Scrappy join alongside of Insight. They end up dropping, and so narrowly were Toronto right there from closing out this game, closing out this series. But OpTic Texas still alive and still afloat for the moment.
Yeah, OpTic Texas still fighting. Currently down by 1 life. You have bedroom control. You just got to maintain this side of the map. As Scrapz is able to take down Huke. Shotzzy at least takes 1 player down, and Dashy follows up with another. So now that's 3 dead in the feed. You're maintaining your bedroom control. Currently up by 1 life, just making it a lot more difficult for Toronto Ultra to make their decision. Do they decide to wrap back towards bed? And yes, that's exactly what they're trying to do. But OpTic, they're cutting them down.
And really, yeah, you can tell for Toronto, they're just kind of frustrated hitting those long routes. They want to try to make their way through the bedroom. Shotzzy, one of the first line of defense. He ends up getting dropped. And with that, the rest of OpTic Texas look to back on up, respecting Toronto Ultra's attacking efforts, respecting how solid they have been, especially in the clutch moments, is now once more called upon. Huke able to find one onto Kleenex. And the numbers continue to start to get lower. Ghosty now in a position.
Oh no!
He's not able to win that gunfight. And now it's on to Dashy. He drops 2. Shotzzy, the last one up toward the point. He will fall as well. And now you've got 2 members in that objective. Any kill is a huge one. And that will be game. Toronto Ultra, a 3-0. And what an impressive series it was. Full of dominance and full of comebacks. And that is a statement right there, Jay. A statement victory, considering all the criticism that Toronto have received lately. A 3-0 here versus OpTic Texas has got to feel great as they now improve their record here in the Major III Qualifiers to 2-1.
Man, what a series from Toronto Ultra, especially the duo in Scrap and Kleenex, because they just took over in the respawns. Kleenex did it the entire series, but what they were able to do, they just had a way better game plan right than OpTic Texas. Map number 1, it was all about rotations. Even when they didn't win a rotation, they found the break in like the first 10 to 15 seconds. And then in the search and destroy, that is tremendous ice, man. That is from like the old Toronto Ultra roster back in the Cold War season. When it comes to that ice, to be down 5-2, bring it back round after round. Taking down Shotzzy majority of those rounds is a big play because he's the guy that usually gets all the information. But they come back in that search and destroy, put all the momentum on their side, up 2-0. Then you put yourself, like you said before the map even started, Lando, in the best possible position for a 3-0 in this series, getting your best control. And they did not disappoint, man. A clean 3-0 on Hotel. Dominated on the defensive round. Did exactly what they needed to do on their attacking rounds. OpTic just simply didn't have an answer, man. They didn't wake up today. They didn't come to play today. Especially my guy, Dashy. Did he have 5 kills at the end of that control, man? What are we doing out there? Oh, that's not good, man. That's not good, man. Toronto Ultra, they just came out swinging, brother.
They did indeed, and I think for OpTic Texas fans, it now gets a little bit more worrisome, right? You're coming into this series. We're talking about how it's going to be the real true test for this team. They beat LAG, but it has to go all the way to a Game 5 where Huke takes over. Then we jump into this series versus Ultra, a big barometer. Where do both of these teams sit after the roster change? And they get 3-0 to Search Destroy that they should have won, but the respawns were not close at all. That's going to do it for myself and Jay as Toronto get a massive W as questions arise across the league after a W like that one. But we now toss it over to the desk. Puckett and Co. Take it away, guys.
Toronto OpTic, we wasted the Game 5 casters on you? This was a series we all thought was going the distance. Instead, we're doubling up the score if you're Toronto Ultra over OpTic. They dominated the hard point. Game 2 was a very close comeback, but that Game 3, it was the Ultra in control. And we highlighted the moves both teams made. They had a young player stepping into both lineups. It looks like the addition of HyDra finding instant success here for Toronto.
Yeah, I kind of set it up before this match. This is kind of the decision of seeing which roster move maybe had a little bit of the edge, because the last time these two teams matched up again, it was OpTic Texas that came out on top in a 3-1 fashion, and they lost that middle control 3-1. And now we head into this series, and it's all Toronto Ultra. That hotel, they take that back, and they get that W, which they originally lost to the OpTic Texas roster. And not only did they take that W, they take it in a 250-124 fashion. Scrappy going 31-18, and then you move into the S&D, where I was worried about OpTic Texas losing that sniper, losing that initial pick in Illy, and what happens? A 5-2 comeback. CleanX goes 12-8, 6 first bloods to go to round 11, get the W to ice up, and then we move into that hotel control. Absolute dominance across the board from Toronto Ultra. I said, you know, if anything, maybe it's a possibility that they somehow get better at control with the addition of HyDra, and well, they take it in a dominant fashion.
Nameless, I'm watching here, and clearly I don't know the game on the same level you do as a former pro player, but do you feel OpTic was ego-chowing a little bit more than we saw Toronto? Because I was specifically dialing in with HyDra. The man seemed to be playing his life throughout this best of 5.
He definitely was. This fair assessment as well, especially when you look at that hard point. There was no rotations to be found the entire time, Chris. Unacceptable. I think when you look at this series, I got to show some love to Toronto here first and foremost. Phenomenal performance there. Scrap really setting himself apart as like that rookie of the year dominating, and HyDra coming in solving a lot of the problems that they had. I think they wanted to get, you know, him to come in and play objective work and get bigger performances out of CleanX, out of Scrap, have more structure on the map, and we saw that. That's what led to such a big win in that hard point. But I do got to talk about OpTic here.
Okay.
Like the change, I don't agree with it now. Like, I mean, when you look at this change, though, like, and Ghosty's going to take a lot of criticism. He's going to get a ton of tweets because of this series and the 3-0 loss. The last time they played, they won 3-1, right? When you look at this series, though, like, I did not see him on rotation making the plays that they needed him to. When it gets to around 11, who's the calming voice to structure them in those moments? In control, Dashy's not, he's just getting absolutely smoked. The team chemistry is not there, right? Like, it's a risk, and I honestly, I blame, like, the management and the team for making this decision after you just got a top 4. I know it's tough. It's so fresh for you guys. I know so many people are going to be angry at me for saying this, but really, you dropped a world champion for a challenge player who might not be ready for the pressure that is the big stage.
We'll see what's going on with OpTic. This is only their second match so far, and they're currently 1-1 in our qualifiers, but this 3-0 hurts. We got to take a look at some of the moments that hurt most. This is our scuff play of the game, and they're all from Toronto's CleanX. We talked about what does HyDra do? Well, he's going to enable the other SMG. Here's the man with the Hail Mary. Round 10 opens it up with a frag grenade, and then at control, we saw this man just 3K after 3K.
Once again, it's all those first bloods that he got throughout this entire search and destroy. You're talking about 6 out of 11, 12-8 to finish it off. I mean, it looked too easy for CleanX.
CleanX getting the job done, and the man's doing it with the Vaznev, clutching up in that search as they come back from a 5-2 deficit to take it a 3-0 at the end of this series. We got Scrap ready, and we got to talk to the man who said, I want this guy on my side. HyDra and Scrap finding success 2 matches in a row. How we feeling, buddy?
I'm feeling great, man. You know, great addition in Charlie coming to the squad. I feel like he plays really well with Toby and lets Toby fly and do what Toby does. So it's a great addition to our team.
And to that point, who kind of made that decision? What was that like in Toronto Ultra Camp?
Oh, you know, it's just a bit of a team decision. You know, it sucks that we had to like make a roster change. It was fun playing with Eli. We had some really great ups, but we also had some low lows. So, you know, it was just something we needed to do.
Scrappy, I wanted to ask you about this series in particular. You really came out here and you were frying, right? It seemed like you had a chip on your shoulder. Did you feel like the Rookie of the Year matchup going up against Ghosty in this series, or was there an extra edge or extra fire you had going up against OpTic?
Oh, yeah, I would say probably the edge is me going against Ant, because that guy talks a lot. You know, he loves dolphin diving, but, you know, you can't just dolphin dive around this league, bro. You got to win a gunfight. And, no, there was nothing with Ghosty, bro. I knew that the guy was getting rinsed, bro. The guy defaults to the hill, and if he's not in the hill, he has no clue what's going on, so.
I want to ask about this matchup in particular. You lost to OpTic in the last meeting online. When you went to LAN, you both got 3-0'd by LA Thieves. What is it like playing against this team, and do you feel that you have a good draw against them?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love playing them. I've got some good friends on that team, and it's all friendly banter. But, you know, we always want to beat each other. But, yeah, it's just, I don't really know, bro. I just slamming them is fun.
It looked good today. I'll let you guys go celebrate. We're excited to see you again in your third match a little bit later on this weekend.
Have a good one.
That's our man, Scrapz. Congrats on the win. If you're Toronto Ultra, Hicksy now 2-0. Looking pretty clean for this squad. Yeah. We got to talk a little bit about some of our sponsors and give a big shout out to our friends at Upper Deck, because they have been making everything possible for us. First, let's hit these points. Nameless, we see that Ultra squad currently 140 points. Yep. They're in our top 3. Let's look at their opponent, though. OpTic still at that 6th spot with 100. Should they feel safe?
I think they should feel okay sitting at 100 points. And I mean, look at your roster, right? You're not going to be in any sort of trouble when it comes to qualifying for champs, but I would be worried about the future of this team and their performances at Major, especially from what we've just seen. Like, they really got to fix their problems.
I think at this point, for at least touching on the OpTic Texas, they just need to breathe and give themselves the opportunity to practice and succeed. I feel like the past years, they haven't given themselves the opportunity.
Give yourself a chance. And also, you got a chance right now to grow your collection. Scan that QR code and pick up our Upper Deck trading cards. The 2021 Call of Duty League players, all featured with our man Scump, featured right there. Some lucky folks out there have a signed version of that card, Nameless.
Yeah, I mean, that's fire too, because now that he's retired, like, you got to get that last Scump signed card. That's lit.
Grow your online collection with that QR code. And remember, we have more matches, 2 more days after today, and still 1 more series to go. When we come back, your LA Guerrillas take the stage. Can they pull out a W here in Qualifier 3? We'll find out after this.